Hi, Maria. Thank you for coming. Haven't seen you for a while. How are you?
Hi, Dennis. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is awesome. I love your new podcast. Yeah, I'm doing really well. How are you?
Doing great. Tell me about business. How's your life? What do you do right now?
Yeah, so I'm still in marketing, very much so. I'm doing product marketing, a lot of positioning work, a lot of kind of defining how businesses should go to market. Super, super interesting, especially that I'm in business software space right now. I'm also working on a few startups on the side, also trying to use all of my marketing skills because I've worked in very different areas of marketing, whether it was digital, paid media, social media, building websites, doing positioning, all of that. So I'm kind of trying to apply those skills and see how this is different from the marketing a big company versus a startup.
I really like your background because you have so much experience with different things, tactics, strategies, digital marketing. I think you even can experience traditional marketing. Can you tell me a little bit for our listeners how you started in marketing? What was your first job, and how you end up being marketer? Are you a marketer right now, or
Yep.
what's your role?
Yeah. My role right now is actually senior product marketing manager.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's actually interesting how I even ended up in marketing. Very funny thing is that I did a bachelor's of management. So the only marketing class that I had, well, not the only one, but the first one that I had in my third year, that was the only class that I did not buy a book for because I thought, well, I don't know, I'll just pass it. I didn't really care. Marketing seems easy for me. I did a great job in the end and got a really good mark because I brought a dog to my presentation. And then kind of, why I won the attention, the prize at the end as well, because it was a very successful presentation. But when I graduated, I realized, I actually do want to try marketing because I didn't know what I wanted to do specifically. And it seemed that in marketing, you're really client agnostic. You don't have to focus on the specific vertical and specific type of business. So you can try working for a software company, you can work for a small agency. You can go in and market I don't know, medical product or lipstick, and all those skills still apply as long as you're able to look at it holistically and understand who are the personas that you're trying to sell to, what is the product, what are the benefits of this product. And the more clients you get, the more different companies you work for, the easier it gets to really see those the building blocks of a marketing agency, marketing strategy, sorry. And in my very first job, I joined a college. So I was marketing business programs. I came, just graduated from a bachelor's in management. So I knew what students needed. And I was really working in that. So it was really interesting to kind of get that experience because I knew the industry itself. From there, I worked at a few agencies as well. So I think if you're a marketer, working for an agency at some point is really critical because that's the only way you get, a deep dive into all areas of marketing. And interestingly enough, I joined as a project manager and then moved into being a strategist. So as a project manager, I ended up seeing all of the stages of the marketing process, whether, it comes from an RFP, gaining a client, then doing a strategy, then, I don't know, working on their website, how the developers work, how design work. And I picked up a lot of skills and kind of the knowledge and the language of developers and language of designers, which I would say is super important for a marketer to understand
Yeah.
because you can't do marketing without designers, without developers. It kind of all comes together. Yeah, you can have an idea, but you need hands-on, knowledge as a marketer, but also as a designer and a developer to execute it. And yeah, I also did a degree in entrepreneurship because I wanted to see how I can apply now my marketing skills, my strategy skills into building and scaling startups. So that's why, as I mentioned, I'm also working in a few personal businesses, which is super different because when you come in into a company and you try to market them, you really focus on like one area. And when you start a business, you're trying to go in with, a super great marketing strategy. But if your commercial model doesn't work, or I don't know, if your API broke, there's nothing you can do. Your marketing won't solve it. Um, so yeah, and recently it's been a lot of kind of interesting things and trying to see what's the difference between marketing as a salesperson, marketing as an actual marketer versus marketing your business to, you know, get funding. Yeah, that's my background and kind of how I got to where I am right now.
What do you mean when you say marketing as a salesperson?
Yes, so that's my own definition of it. But let's say this example would be take a deck, a presentation. You can have the exact same presentation about your business when you're using it, let's say, as a media deck to send out to a conference. This is something that will be produced by marketing. It is for clients to look at it and be like, oh, hey, this is very interesting business. Let me learn more about them. Let me go to their website. Let me maybe get a demo or try out the product. I'm probably talking more of like a service business right now. If you use the same deck, but you are now giving it to a sales team and you're helping them out, then you will use it and change it to a lot more kind of like hooks and interesting phrases and facts, trying to convince the client to actually try out or buy your product right away. But when you take that same deck and you present it to, I don't know, an angel investor, you talk about your future vision. They don't care really about the exact features and capabilities that your solution has right now. You talk about this grandiose vision of I'm going to have enterprise level clients and we just need the extra investment and this product will be the best product in its category.
So when you say sales pitch, do you mean you have to cherry pick some data points?
Well, I think in marketing you cherry pick a lot. As much as we don't want to talk about it, this is definitely what happens. Whether you work for an agency, I think that is even a problem, I would say, because obviously agency wants more money. They want to continue the retainer. They pick the data points to make themselves look good. But it happens in other, pitches as well. Sales team definitely will point out the best examples, the best use cases of the product. If you're going to present to an investor, you're gonna say, "Hey, look at the size of this market. Like, it's I don't know, a couple of $1 billion. Nobody talks about that. I don't know, 90% is already occupied, 100% is occupied, and really your share of wallet might be 0.05%. So that there's a lot of cherry picking in everything. Yeah. I remember agency times and going to Google Analytics,
Yeah.
looking at a lot of red numbers, but then only reporting the two green ones.
Yes, that's definitely true for advertising agencies. So you've been an in-house marketer for a while and also you work for agencies.
Yes. So I've been on both sides.
What would you suggest for a small business owner? Should they hire a freelancer marketer or go with the agency? Or maybe the best option is to try to figure out yourself and maybe sometimes hire some consultant because we know that agency, unfortunately, they have to sell and they have to keep
Yes.
their retainer. So sometimes agency take path of cherry picking data, spinning facts. Of course, we want to avoid it, but the reality is they have to do it because their business is commission based. So they have to make you spend as much as possible, but sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really always a balance between saying the truth to the client. So it doesn't work. We have to change our product or we should spend more on our marketing.
Hmm.
What would you suggest to a small business owner which path they should take?
Hmm. Um, I would say it's actually case by case basis. It obviously depends on how much your marketing budget is, number one. Number two is probably what product you have. If it's a fairly easy product to sell, sometimes, you might as well just go with a freelancer paid media buyer who's going to do amazing ads for you and your product will sell. Um, but my kind of optimal path that I usually recommend is to find a very small niche agency. And what I mean by that, it can be an agency of 2 people. It can be an agency of 3 people that are just starting out. Those people usually need clients. They really do a great job because they want to have those success stories. They want to prove they are worth something so they can grow their agency, they can grow their client base. And they usually don't charge too much compared to a big agency. For a small business, I never see the point of getting a big agency. And I think you remember that the CEO of the agency that we both worked for used to say, "Do you want to be a small fish in the big pond or a big fish in the small pond?"
I love it.
I do understand what he meant by that. So, again, you go to a big agency, they don't care about you. You'll pay them, they'll do the bare minimum. They have other people that they want to keep because they're paying the money. You're not going to get much out of it. Sometimes, if you're not just starting out and it's not just the ads or just the social media that you need, the freelancer might not be enough either. So if you want somebody to put like a basic strategy together
Mhm.
and do a little bit of social media, a little bit of paid media, maybe a little bit of blogging, maybe involve somebody else for extra money to write the blogs for you, that's fine. But there are a lot of small agencies. And I get quite a few actually startups reaching out to me because I'm in marketing and asking, hey, you work with so many agents, with so many freelancers. Can you recommend somebody?
Mhm.
And yeah, like interestingly enough, yesterday I was reaching out to some of my connections in London, asking for a small agency in the health space. So I was just asking around, like if anybody knows of a small agency that can specialize in that or can help out to do basic strategy as well as social and paid media.
Why I never get any referrals from you then?
I can ask you if you want to do that. They're based in London. That's the only reason I'm trying to find somebody there, just because it's
Mhm.
health related, and the rules are a little bit different,
Yeah.
whether it's North America or UK.
Yeah. Health is very particular
Yeah,
type of marketing
yeah,
with a lot of restrictions.
definitely.
I always ask this question. How much do you think is reasonable to pay a marketer for a small business? I understand it all depends on your budget, but
Yeah.
let's say we have $3,000 a month.
hmm
That's our advertising budget. How much is reasonable to pay to a freelancer or small niche agency? And how many hours you think a month is reasonable to spend to manage this budget?
Okay. So let's say like you're talking specifically about paid media
Paid
or
media.
paid
Yeah,
media.
paid media. Yeah.
Yeah. If the budget is what 3K, I would say you can probably find a freelancer that will do it for like 500K
Mhm.
extra for the management fee. Um
So it's approximately 10 hours a month would be
yeah,
enough.
but realistically they just need to set up the campaign. That's what's going to take the time,
Mhm.
and then go in and check and adjust, right? And I worked for affiliate like performance marketing agency.
Mhm.
So I know that they are paid media buyers that are excellent at their job. It takes them no time. They sit in there, I don't know, Costa Rica and Colombia and whatever it is, and then just sip on cocktails and press a couple of buttons.
Mhm.
And they earn a lot of money. So they are people that are really good at it. It's not going to take them, 50 hours to set it up. And they've done it many, many times. They go in, it's almost like a robotic job of just clicking the same buttons and then seeing how the data is performing and adjusting it. So if you are able to find someone like that who's really specialized in it, for them to take on another client that has a fairly small budget is not a hard task.
Do you feel you have to start with paid ads right away when you're just launching your business? Or maybe you have to prepare some foundation, website? What should
Yes.
you done in advance before you start spending money on
Yeah.
Google, Facebook?
Yes. Again, it highly depends on the business.
Mhm.
If you're starting a SaaS business, if your clients are on Google or on Instagram, maybe it makes sense. Not, I would say, not as much as it would for a physical product. If you start with a product that is an impulse buying product, yes, set up a website, maybe an Instagram channel, and throw ads in. It's going to work. But for businesses that really want to grow, that want to become big, I would say you have to start with the foundation of what is my product? What is like my target audience? How do I want to position that product? And it doesn't mean that the positioning is not going to change. Sometimes you have to try a couple of times. There are a ton of examples of how businesses would go in and start as like one product and then turn and become a completely different one. Um, it's a recent example of baking soda. I forgot the name of them. I think they started as a baking soda, and then people started putting them. It's an old story, but they started putting the baking soda in the fridges
Mhm.
because it removes the odor from all the foods. So they repositioned themselves and created a product that was for the fridge for the odor, and then they started going to like deodorants and all the other applications of that initial product that they created. And a million examples of that. But I would say you should always try and put some sort of strategy together. Be like, I think my product does X, my audience is Y, and this is the benefit they will gain from buying my product or service. Then go and try it out. Like websites, it must have, absolutely.
Mhm.
Everybody's going to Google you. Um, Social media channel is probably good. Depends. Again, some might need to have a LinkedIn. If you're B2B sales, you do have to have LinkedIn. Everybody's going to check it. If you're, I don't know, a direct to consumer brand, have an Instagram channel. Use some reviews. Again, for direct to consumer, I would say this is super important as well. But probably after that, it's safe to say that you can try doing paid media.
Do you feel that website these days is not that important? It's not such crucial element of your marketing strategy as it was before. What I feel, social media replaced the website importance in overall strategy. Because I see a lot of clients, they coming and they so concerned, hey, how my website looks like.
Yeah.
What's my performance on the website? And you understand that people actually Googling you, they see not just your website, they see your
Yes.
Facebook business page, Instagram. How do you go about it? And what would be the balance for entrepreneur? What should you done for your social media before you launch?
hmm I'd say let's take B2B SaaS businesses out of it because, in my opinion, websites are still crucial. You get a lot of consultants that will go on the website, that the CEO or CTO, they will go to the website and they will check. They're not as interested in your Instagram or LinkedIn page. LinkedIn maybe for like thought leadership to see if you actually have the knowledge in the company. But most of the other businesses, yes, especially if you're like a fashion or beauty product, right now your Instagram is your website. You're right. You can shop on Instagram. You can look and get the feel of what they stand for, what type of consumers are buying it, what they're trying to sell just by looking at the photos and the videos. Um, but social media, yes, to your point, and social media needs to have a strategy as well. Uh, you know, we all know how it looks like. It's got the certain feel that you can portray through the different use of filters, of colors. So it's not an easy job. Like I've tried doing it for a few brands. When you're doing it by hand yourself, it's so annoying because you have to pre-plan everything. You like download separate app and you upload all the images to see how you can reshuffle them so the overall feed looks like a very pretty picture. And then it's also important to put down some of the almost like content pillars for Instagram page. Like, what am I talking about? I'm talking about my costs, for example. I'm talking a little bit about my product. I'm talking about, I don't know, my partners or what we want to do as a company, what our employees like to do. And to really try and see how you can balance the selling, the education, and the entertainment. And for every brand, it's going to be different. For some brands, it's going to be a lot of just entertainment, a little bit of selling. Other brands, it might be quite a bit of selling and maybe a lot of education if it's a new product, right? So it depends on your audience, but you do need to have that in mind. If
Mhm.
I'm selling to I don't know, Sean, who's 30 years old and he has two dogs, and I'm selling them, I don't know, chew sticks for his dog, what would he want to know? Maybe some training tips. Okay, let's throw in the training tips and keep those people involved and engaged. And then talk about our products, how you can use the stick to train the dog to go and sit in place, for example.
From my experience, I would disagree about website and B2B. What I feel about websites, it's like build a restaurant on the street where no one pass you by. You invest money
Okay.
in a good looking website, you post content, but right now Google is so competitive. It takes so much time to rank for some keywords.
Hmm.
Of course, you can rank for long tail keywords and there are strategies, but return on investment in comparison with LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, even TikTok.
Yes.
Such a shame, but yes, I see it works on TikTok as well,
Hmm.
educational videos. And when you compare return on investment, let's say you spend 20K on building website and content, blog articles, even you posting videos. But you can imagine you post video on YouTube versus you post video on a website.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Traffic, tremendous amount of traffic, website versus social media.
Yes.
And when you look at the data, how much time people spend on their phones, what they do on their phones, they usually spend time on social media.
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, like of course it depends on the niche, but sometimes it's surprising how for some super serious industries where you feel those professionals they don't use Facebook at all. And I see it in real estate, sometimes real estate agents. Oh, Facebook, Instagram doesn't work. People who have money, they don't use Facebook. And we find it all the time. They do. They still do use Facebook.
Yeah.
And we see return on investment. And what I always say, sometimes you don't get your direct customer in touch, but you get some
Hmm.
network, those people who might know someone who is looking for business.
Yeah. I would just say, I guess I'll clarify what I meant by the website. When I say you have to have a website, it doesn't mean you need to continuously invest in it. So something like working on SEO or posting blogs, especially what we're talking about, like B2B, go on LinkedIn, post it there. Sure, you can have it on your website just for future, like it'll be useful. You won't start from zero. You just need to have like a good enough looking website that has decent information on what your business is about and some sort of call to action. I don't see like I agree with you. Like at this point, you might as well go and invest into I don't know YouTube videos or Facebook or whatever it is. It's just once somebody landed on your ad, they a lot of people would want to re-verify. Just quickly Google you, scam through. Hey, oh yeah, looks legit. Their website talks about the same thing, same feel, same colors. Great. Um, yeah. An interesting thing you said about real estate. I was recently looking and like buying a property, so I spend so much time on Facebook.
Yeah,
I am following all those groups, for sale here, for sale there, and I check, and then there's like real estate's posting there.
it's super interesting. You, with a marketing background, how you search for real estate agent, knowing all the background, all what's happening, all behind, all the technologies behind the ads, how you search for real estate agent.
Well, surprisingly or not surprisingly, number one is I go out and ask for referrals.
Hmm.
I've asked for referrals, and the others is I Google best realtors. And I was looking in BC at this point. I looked up best realtors in BC, and there's rating and there are reviews, and I'm like, okay, so I guess this top 10 realtors have best reviews, best rating. Hmm, this guy looks really cool, so I just feel like he'll be a nice guy to talk to.
Hmm.
This lady looks, in her 50s, so she's probably got enough experience and she doesn't have all the shiny stuff behind her. She looks very legit and approachable. I'm like, I like their face.
When you say cool and legit, can you define it?
Oh, this is so, it's just what I felt. The cool, it's like, the you don't like the person, the two people that I picked to talk to. One wasn't wearing a full on suit. He was wearing just a dress shirt. He didn't have his hands crossed. It was kind of like an open, smile, like a little bit. And I've opened his profile and it just said, yeah, I've lived in the area. I really enjoyed it. So I work with different type of clients. I really want to help you. Nothing about, oh, I've had amazing business in selling this property and that property. It's not really what I was looking for. I was looking for somebody who can sit with me, get on a call,
Hmm.
talk to me, ask what the things I'm looking for, and kind of get engaged. And I've dropped 3 realtors because they weren't following up. They
Hmm.
weren't interested. They put me on the list. You get the emails. They didn't really care what exactly I was looking for. And you really see that difference. So first, I got somebody for referral. I got others from the website. Then I went down to hey, let me look at their realtor profiles. Okay, looks very approachable, kind of nice face, and it's crazy. But we do look at how people look, what they dress, how their faces look like. If that person seems attractive to me, just as a human being, right? I want to talk to him or her. And then the third step was some of them would just email and say, let me know what you're looking for, and nothing else. And then there's others that actually said, hey, let's get on a call, and gave me a lot of advice, being like, in this area, this is what where the market's been. This is what I would recommend you to do based on your price point. This is how you can, rent it afterwards, and kind of continue to follow up with me and really cared. So it's multiple steps, but that initial one is looking online at the property, seeing who their names are
I want
and
to
what their
recreate.
faces are.
I want to recreate your user journey. So first step, we can make you interested by ads. Could we?
You
Like
could.
showing you Google ads, or maybe would Facebook or Instagram ads work for you? High quality ads.
Um, they would. I think if it's not even just a realtor, if it's probably a property that I'm interested in,
Mm-hmm.
or the in the area or around, my bracket on whether I was searching for condo or for house. If it was an ad like that, and I saw that as a person that's related to that ad,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I'm interested.
It works because we spend a lot of budget on listing ads.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for some similar properties, you might
Yes.
submit your contact information.
Correct.
Then,
Oh yeah, that's the other thing.
yeah.
I skipped because there's another realtor that I got through gated content. Obviously, I wanted to look at
Mhm.
more photos, and I have to submit it. Now I'm receiving her emails all the time,
It works.
but it works. I look at every single realtor email I get. I don't look at any other emails. I just mark them red. Real estate, I'm like, yes. Even if it's like totally out of my budget and they still like have a different section, I still look at it. Once I have the budget, I'll go back to it.
First step, ads. I mean, you can rank organically if you have good
Yes.
online presence. Second step, branding. Is it what you say, legit? You establish trust, high quality pictures, good looking website. This feeling you get from those pictures, how person dressed, like
Yeah.
story behind the brand.
It needs to be a little bit personal.
Mhm.
So to me, it's not attractive when somebody sees like a super polished website, super polished photos, cards, whatever. It's like too much. But also, obviously, if nobody has any website, any presence on their realtor agency profile, then it's also like it's got to be somewhere in the middle where you get a little bit of their story. Like somebody had a photo with their kids and a dog, and I was like, oh yeah, like you're gonna help me out. Like it looks like I can relate to you.
Did you check social media profiles?
No, I didn't check social media.
Okay, you are old school customer. Just website. Yeah.
I checked reviews. So they are like aggregator sites where you have
Mhm.
I forgot what it's called, but it's like Best Realtor or something like this.
Really?
Yes. At least that's what it was for BC. So you could actually Google, and it's like an aggregator
Mhm.
website that has reviews for all the different realtors.
Yeah, this is very interesting how you show trust, how you establish credibility.
Yeah. Because if I found them somewhere and then they were not in the first couple of pages of that review site in the
Mhm.
top, then I was like, no, let me go back and get someone from that review site.
Do you trust Google reviews?
Well, I myself, faked Google reviews, so it's no, I'd say I don't. For some reason, I trust like realtors and doctors, not Google reviews, but they're again those third-party sites
Niche.
where it's like Rate My MD, I think, for doctors,
Mhm.
and that one for realtors. I forgot what it was. This one's I trust, though I don't know why. But Google, I don't, because yeah, I've just had to do that so many times to get reviews down for smaller companies.
I know. Guilty.
My mom, as a lawyer, still sends me like, "Hey, can you create a new email address? And I just wrote a review for you. Can you post it for me?" Um,
Yes, it works for some people, but I agree. Yeah, there is a lot of niche websites, and sometimes
yeah,
people they trust them more when it comes down to professionals.
yeah,
Uh, and third step, it seems CRM emails,
yes,
how they reach out to you, how fast they were.
yeah,
Because what we see from our experience, if you call within the first 5 minutes and you get this personal connection, you get the conversion rate
Yeah.
way higher.
And that, yeah, from my experience for sure, because some reached out right away.
Hmm.
If somebody reached out later, I'm not interested already. I've got 2, 3 realtors I want to talk to and see who I like more. Like, I don't need more at this point.
Realtors reach out to you personally, or was it assist
After, no, personally, actually.
personal?
Yeah, I
Hmm.
got personal calls and emails.
It was an assistant. It was realtor himself who.
Yeah, I got one reached out right away saying, "Hey, give me your number. Send me a Zoom link. We talked the next day." One lady called me on the phone, and the third one, I don't know, maybe it was an assistant because I went through a series of emails. To be honest, the realtors don't have good reputation. So I would say it's really important for them to show the personal touch. Anyway, whether it's email, whether it's, again, automated kind of sequence, but something that shows that they care will help a lot. Um, you don't expect them to care about you. You kind of know that they want to get more money and more sales through. And you're always on the lookout. Okay, is this realtor really helping me? Or is the realtor trying to sell me the first property that I will qualify for because they will get the money?
Mhm. I feel only genuine intention to help someone through website or social media when you do put efforts
Yes.
in producing videos, writing blog articles, posting on Instagram,
Hmm.
Twitter, it doesn't matter. But only those people who put genuine attention, somehow potential customers can feel it. And that
Yep.
what creates brand. Because a lot of realtors, they reach out to us and ask, can you post for us? And I tell them, yes, I can. But then it will be my perception of your potential customers. It will be my ideas about the market, about your future
Hmm.
content, how our interaction should look like. It's not you. We can help you, we can guide you with the topics, we can show you some data, we can create strategy for you, but we need you to shoot
Hmm.
videos. We need you to put thoughts together and post it on the website. We can only make you look beautiful,
Hmm.
put the pieces together, but you need this genuine intention to
Yeah.
make something great and actually connect with people.
Yeah.
Because what I feel, social media is such a great tool for real estate agents because it's very important what you said. Real estate isn't about properties because at that point you needed to connect with someone. It's about relationships.
Yes.
So you needed to feel comfortable with someone because you are telling about your budget,
Of course.
about your credit score,
Yeah.
your family situation, why you're buying apartment,
Yeah.
do you have apartment right now, what size of apartment, telling your
Yeah.
future goals, why you're relocating to
Hmm.
BC, right? It's very intimate, and those realtors who understand it and post about it and are able to connect with people at scale, they succeed in this business.
Definitely. And I think like some realtors try to sell too much
Hmm.
because when you're buying a property, even if you've bought it's your like 10th, 50th property, it's still sensitive for you. It's your money. You don't want to overpay. You also don't want to offer not enough when you really like something. You start to like it. And if you miss it, you feel really bad and it's very stressful. You almost want like somebody to take your hand and guide you, right? So that's if somebody kind of gives you that comfort of like, hey, you will find a great property, we'll try. If that doesn't work, we'll find something else. Instead of like, hey, just go now, buy, like submit all the documents. That just puts everybody in like super stressful situation. And the stories that I've heard is a lot of buyers like pull out at the last minute
Hmm.
because they get overstressed. They're not sure. They don't know anymore. So realtors, I think there's a lot of psychology involved in selling, and the better people they are by like having that, I guess, how would you call that? Like knowledge of how to communicate and feel people's emotions. That's one of the most critical, probably, skills for a realtor to have, and that helps a lot with future buying as well. Because if somebody bought once with you or sold, um, for them to go back to you, I think that's important too. It might be, and I think the statistics was that right now people keep their properties for an average of 7 years.
Hmm.
So it's not like it used to be, or in some other countries where you buy a property and you pass it down to your kids. In Canada, they do buy and sell all the time. So you can get those repeat purchases or repeat sales. And what's one interesting thing is, so for my fiance, for example, the realtor came back afterwards and got a bottle of wine for us, just dropped it off, a bottle of wine and a nice card saying congratulations. And it was right before Christmas. It was a congratulation, happy Christmas. And, if you have time, we would love to have you for dinner.
Hmm.
Which is like a super, super personal touch. But they've probably have a little bit longer relationship than just meeting the realtor first time. But that's still like, even if they were to just drop the wine and the card, or even send the card in mail, it already makes you feel really nice,
Hmm.
right?
Do you want to give referral right now? What's the name of your realtor? We will tag them in the video.
I can send you that.
Okay. Yeah, seems like a good person.
Yeah, they're a couple, so that's the other thing. That's interesting when it's both male and female working together.
Hmm.
So especially when they talk to another couple, it's like they're trying to both relate
Okay,
from the male perspective, from the female perspective.
that's a good approach. That's a good approach. Tell me a little bit about your startups, what you focus on, what it's all about. You said SaaS.
No, so for the startups, no. So their services. Um, one is a very, very easy startup that I've kind of been working slowly on, but I almost use it as an MVP for whatever future businesses I work on. Because I realize unless you yourself try and build a business, you can never learn about all of that. Even though I have a
Hmm.
degree in entrepreneurship,
Absolutely.
it's not the same. Because when you start going into tiniest little details, it starts with like, okay, how do I register my business? And you start going into the legal documents, whatever it is, you're like, what the heck is this? Like, that's not what I learned about. Um, so that startup is actually basically an app, a platform that helps international students move abroad. It has, a timeline with all the required tasks. It connects you to third-party providers. It recommends the third-party providers. Has, the dates for when you should complete each of the stage, and it also has a forum where you can go in and reach out to the students that are going through the same process, as well as read like previous years' comments on, them receiving visa or anything like that. We are focused right now on actually building it in Chinese and helping Chinese students
Hmm.
move to the UK, just because it's a really, really large number. And among Chinese students, it's very popular to use sort of like third party agencies that help them with all their documents, with getting them accustomed. And they also have a lot of like language barriers, cultural
Hmm.
barriers, because the systems are so drastically different between China and UK. Yeah, but like right now, we went to the point that we've built the app, like the not looking amazingly,
Is it
obviously.
live?
I just put it down. It was live. Because we wanted like it's live if I give you the link, right? You can download it. Um, the thing is, I went back. So we've kind of created it. I wrote out the list of features. We've created the app. I did branding myself, and then I realized that we probably went too far, and we have this massive vision in our heads where we're already bringing students from all over the world, whether it's Russians going to US, Italians going to Germany, whatever it is. And we haven't really proved that, hey, this works on a really small scale. So interestingly, I got in a very small accelerator type program for a couple of months,
Hmm.
which just started a few weeks back, where they brought me back to like such a small scale.
Hmm.
They just gave me like an idea canvas to fill in, and I had 15 page PowerPoint. The guy looked at me, he's like, the idea canvas is 1 page. I'm like, yes, but we have so much information. Like, there's this and that, and we're gonna do this, and this is our commercial model. He's like, I need 3 bullet points. And I froze because we already like in our heads, our vision is so much bigger. So I am really trying to bring it down to a very small MVP that can be
Hmm.
tested. I know how it can be tested. I've got connections both to the companies, to the universities, because we want to partner with them, as well as to the students. But I need to kind of scale down that crappy app we built to a decent small one where we can start checking almost like benefit by benefit, whether this is what the students like, this is what the brands that we want to feature would like, and just start rolling it out slowly.
It sounds like you made the same mistake as I did. You haven't verified the demand in the first place.
Yeah, we did. We went through the whole design thinking process. We actually had interviews. We had our assumptions. We tested our
Hmm.
assumptions. But that was just conversations. In conversations, everybody was like, oh my God, I want it. I
Hmm.
wish I had that simple app because it was so stressful for me to move abroad. Like, great. But we've collected all of the things that was talked about, and we decided to try and put it together. So right now, there's no kind of solid story to it. It's like, oh, it helps with that, and this, and this, and but we haven't actually launched it
Hmm.
to the people to try out and see how it works. Speaking is one thing. Yes, there is demand. I would be interested in it.
Hmm.
It's completely different when here it is. Try it. Is it helpful?
Market fit.
Yes.
And you have so many different audiences, even for international students. It can be
Yeah.
Chinese, it can be
Yeah.
European students, and you never know which audience will work for you.
Exactly. Exactly. So interestingly, you think about like, okay, we don't have competitors because that doesn't exist. But then we realize that our biggest competitor is a PDF file that is shared through WeChat.
Yes.
And the question is like, try and compete. The students pass it on to their next generation of students, and it's literally a PDF.
And immigration consultants, I think, your competitors as well,
Yes.
because there is always a choice between do something yourself, DIY tool, or you can hire someone
Yeah.
who walk
Yeah.
you through the entire process. And it's always a challenge because you have to prove the idea that you can accomplish it by yourself.
Yes.
Yes, you have the app,
Yeah.
but do you have proven stories
Hmm.
that someone without any help
Hmm.
saved money? So you didn't pay consultant, you used your app,
Yeah.
and you end up in Canada or US.
Yeah.
Is it just for Canada or US as well?
No, like right now it's just it's based in the UK, so it's registered in the UK actually.
But
But
is it
it will be
immigration to
it's
Canada?
it's no to the UK.
Ah, UK. Okay.
Yeah. So right now it's just focused on the UK just
Oh.
because I have university connections there,
Mhm.
and it's like we need universities to help us get the students. My selling pitch was, hey, they are wedding planning apps. If wedding planning apps survive, my app will work. That's how I got into the accelerator. I was like, look, you plan a wedding for a year, less than that, for some people, 6 months. How do they make money? They make money. They have some providers that they feature.
Mhm.
I'm like, mine is for students. There's so many more students. So yeah, I'm trying to prove that.
Is it free or you're gonna charge monthly subscription?
It's freemium for students.
Mhm.
So that's the one thing that I'm trying to test right now. What are the gated features? What are the locked features the students are willing to pay for? Because I obviously have an assumption, but it doesn't mean that this is really where they will get the value.
I have a good question about this startup. Where did you get funding?
We didn't. It's a lot of personal investment
Mhm.
and a lot of after work hours working, two of us. So it's me and a co-founder, and I have a lot of kind of business knowledge and marketing as well as design. She is really good in finance, and she's a developer. So the skills are, what complementary. That's probably why that it took us a year to launch that initial crappy app, because I did the design. I did like a website. I created the commercial model, kind of the business stuff. We started applying for a lot of accelerators, so we got a
Mhm.
little bit of money, but it's really nothing. It's just a very small sum from that small accelerator. But they're bringing us back again. As I said, helping us test all those assumptions in our massive model that we created.
Mhm.
And she's the one that is really just working there and coding. So she joins, like an academy to learn more about app development. We've got some friends of mine that helped out from the consulting perspective to build the architecture for the app. Um, yeah, so really doing it all on our own. But we haven't done marketing. So right now, I'm because I don't have the budget for it. We started social media. It's not doing as well for now. We started doing. There is a social app called the Little Red Book in China.
Mhm.
So my co-founder is actually posting a lot about student life and moving abroad to the UK on that channel. So it's starting to pick up.
Your co-founder speak Mandarin.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
So that's again the complementary skill.
Yes.
So I'm doing it in English. She's doing it in Mandarin. Um, and yeah, the goal right now is to, test those assumptions with this tiny budget that we have right now. Have a pretty solid MVP. I'm talking to the universities because I'm hoping that they will just help us for free.
Mhm.
And then going into whether it's another accelerator or actually trying out some like angel investors. So
Mhm.
we'll just start pitching. We've been collecting a lot of information on different competitions. I
Mhm.
think this is useful because we've got a pretty solid pitch now, and it's interesting. I like to pitch. So our idea is that once we have those assumptions tested, we have a solid MVP to present. I'm gonna go to a ton of pitch competitions and just see what money I can get out of that.
Mhm. Do you find a lot of value in accelerators, incubators?
So if you don't have a business background or you didn't do a degree in entrepreneurship, for example, I would say it's super useful.
Mhm.
If you come from, I don't know, an engineering background, yes, go into an accelerator. I talk to a lot of like friends and acquaintances who talk about their businesses that are from different background that go in with a great idea, a great product they developed, and it fails all the time.
Mhm.
Because like, oh my God, I didn't know that in business you have to do this and you have to do that. And I didn't know this model and all this fancy marketing and business words.
Mhm.
If you've done your business before, you have hands-on experience. So if you had an entrepreneurship or management degree, I would say accelerators are not that much of a help
Mhm.
unless you can get connections through it. If
Yep.
it's a very specific one where you know they will be able to put you in touch with certain people, yes, use it for that. The actual process of maybe assumption testing or whatever it is might not be as useful. The number one reason I went to this accelerator is they can put me in touch with different international offices at universities.
Awesome.
So in the very first talk we had last week, I said, they're like, oh yeah, you got to really talk to international offices. I'm like, so how do we do that?
Mhm.
They're like, okay, send us an email, like separating. I'm like, okay. So that's my point of entrance.
Is it university accelerator?
Yes, so they are part of they're like separate university, but they have a separate accelerator, but they're affiliated with the university.
How does it work? Do you have monthly, weekly, bi-weekly meetings with your consultants or?
Yes, so we have bi-weekly calls that are like all of the startups that are in that
Mhm.
accelerator. And then we have bi-weekly one-on-one calls. So they give you, go in, they present, they say, here is the canvas, for example, you need to complete. This is how you should talk about it. Here is a Slack channel. You can all go share, discuss. I will go in, comment if you have any questions, and then they kind of review what you have, and you have a one-on-one call with the like what are the consultants from there, depending on which part of your startup you're working on. And they discuss, they give you advice, they help you, kind of guide you, and yeah, then it goes into next topic, and at the end all of them have a pitch competition.
Is it seasoned entrepreneurs or investors?
They are either seasoned entrepreneurs or subject matter experts in the specific area.
Mhm.
So if we're working on, marketing, or you're working on your financing and your commercial model, you have people that have done this for many, many years. So they will actually get together with you. And they are general people, general consultants that just help with the process of how you should create your startup, right? The whole idea of you have to have interviews with your prospective customers, collect the information, go out in the field, do the research. Like when I was working on another idea, I was literally standing in the malls for hours recording people like this with a little camera to see how they're purchasing their soaps. Um,
What was the startup? I'm wondering.
that was part of like my design thinking course at this point, but we had to actually create a startup idea. This was about how do we reduce people using, like, I guess, just um, reduce using plastic, but
Mhm.
reduce using just waste material. We were trying to make people to use their products for longer, and we focused specifically on household goods. A lot of it was like cleaning products, skin products. Yeah, it was interesting. We came up with an idea, but that idea will never be valuable. Like, it's never going to make money.
Mhm.
It's really hard. Anything that relates to saving the environment, for now, unfortunately, you just spend more money rather than earn money.
Well,
Um,
unless you get government funding for this.
well, yes, exactly. But it's just a lot of those products turned out that are green products actually cost more, but they cost more because they cost a lot more to produce. And, unless it's a government or like an NGO or something that are actually willing to give to the community and help the environment, not many people want to get involved in it. The first question we were asked, because I actually brought in the investors to hear our pitches, like, how are you going to make money? How are you going to scale? Like, all they care about is down the road. At what point am I going to make millions out of you?
Yeah. What do you think about future of social media ads? I see Facebook ads, Instagram ads, especially for D2C brands.
Hmm.
Before it was such a big thing.
Yeah.
People were creating e-commerce stores, creating a couple products, and going live with Facebook ads. And Facebook ads were cheap,
Hmm.
so it worked. Right now, I feel this model doesn't work anymore just because Facebook ads are not that cheap anymore. Because bigger
Yeah.
brands spending huge budgets on Facebook. And I'm feeling this model when you have a small store, you produce something yourself. And a lot of those brands, they rely on being green
Yeah.
as a part of their branding strategy. And then as a marketing tool, they use social media ads. But do you think it will work in the future, or social media ads, traditional social media channels such as Facebook, Instagram, will be only part of bigger brand marketing strategy?
It's an interesting question. I hope not. It's kind of hard for me to see that happening because still, like, when you go into, not so much about Facebook, but when you go on Instagram, you still see a lot of those small independent brands.
Mhm.
Like, I get a lot of ads from new brands that keep on like popping up on my feed, and except probably Instagram and TikTok, I don't really know what is another way for them to sell it. Go to a local, Sunday market. Unless there's going to be another channel that will be specifically, niche to the smaller brands. Um, I don't know what other way it would be. Um, some of the things that I'm seeing right now is, it seems like um, certain brands are creating their own marketplaces.
Mhm.
And that's interesting because it's partially of what my company does that I work for right now. But I've seen some examples where, let's say, a fairly established brand will have a certain cause, whether it's being green or their audience really likes beauty products. They will go in and create their own marketplace, and they will pull in the different brands. A lot
Mhm.
of those D2C brands, they'll curate them and have a theme around what they're selling for their customers. It's
Give me
almost like
example. Is it some Etsy or?
no, no. So one of them was called Fascinatia or Fascination.
Hmm.
I can look it up afterwards. But they created a marketplace because they said that right now we're so overwhelmed by all those direct to consumer brands. There's just so many of them. How do you
Hmm.
know which one is good, which one is not good? You can't resurface them because like it's a mess.
Hmm.
So they actually go out and handpick those brands and they put it on their own branded marketplace. So it's not an Etsy, it's not an Amazon, it's a separate niche marketplace. That's one of the new kind of things that I've seen in marketing. The other one is more and more brands are acquiring other brands. The aggregation is just keeps on happening. So a lot of those little ones start to become part of some other brand. So then I guess it's easier for them to do any sort of marketing. And the third thing, which what we are working, my company is working on right now, is trying to help brands um, sell together and incentivize their customers to purchase from each other. So that's working on loyalty programs, but that's working on collaborative loyalty
Hmm.
programs. So what I mean by that is that two brands can have two loyalty programs, but then can co-market, they can promote their products and create offers for the audience on the other brand. So you kind of both benefit from it because you get access to audience of another brand. The other brand gets to incentivize their consumers because you can use the points to purchase another brand. And then the consumers are also happy because they now get the loyalty points from one system, but they can also purchase from another brand. And it all becomes kind of a collaborative way between the brands to try and avoid the third-party aggregators as well, such as Google or third-party ad platforms or Instagram that can own your data. They own the knowledge about your customers. There's so much competition. They go directly between the brands and kind of create that brand partner offers for their members. So that's just some of the things that I see brands moving away from just strictly creating their brand and going on social media to create ads.
Yeah, loyalty is a big thing because right now these data capabilities are limited. iOS update and Google
Yep,
Sandbox and Facebook
exactly.
updates. And right now, a lot of bigger brands they rely solely on loyalty programs.
Hmm.
But that's not the case for D2C brands. And what I see, acquisition cost is so high right now. So when you sell something, shoes, or sneakers, t-shirts,
Yeah,
your profit margin becomes so thin, and you have to also cover operational cost.
yeah.
And the way I see D2C brands can succeed, you build sort of MVP, you push it for social media. Yes, your acquisition cost is high, but then
Hmm.
you just hope that at some point you can go offline. Because if you look at the data, all those D2C brands that started 5 6 years ago, their growth rely almost on offline sales. So they go back to the stores. This is very interesting because before investors they were giving so much money
Hmm.
relying on, hey, this growth will go up every year.
Yeah,
But then bigger brands such as Procter and Gamble, Mercedes, Danone, all of them they target the same audience.
yeah.
You don't compete by product, but you still compete for the same audience. How many times you can show your ads on Instagram? That's what I feel for a lot of small businesses. They don't realize the competition level online. It's not enough to show you ad 1 2 3 times.
Yeah.
And the same challenge, I believe, will be for your startup.
Probably, yes. So our own thing is the only thing is because we're focused on Chinese market right now. It's a little different there. It's a lot about actually influencers rather than even ads for certain platforms there. But I can't even do much with it unless you get a person who speaks the language and who understands how the system works there. The ads are not the same. When I worked for one of the companies, I tried to target it to Chinese and I failed so badly. I failed with my design, I failed with my copy, I failed with my ads. It was all wrong. And I went to a Chinese person and he looked at it. He's like, looks very great, but if you're white. And I mean, I was like, thank you for being honest. what do I do? And they changed it entirely, and that worked. But I've got a question for you. So if you're talking about, direct to consumer brands, and obviously the competition is so fierce in paid media, do you see them potentially winning on TikTok? As I haven't seen whether, big enterprise level brands try to enter that space.
Already, there's a lot of
Are
big,
they are they occupying a lot already?
of course. TikTok is cheaper than Instagram or Facebook or Google,
Yeah. I'm just asking because of that viral effect that maybe they have a better shot.
but we have to understand the behavior on TikTok is so different from
Mhm.
Instagram. So I just got this data yesterday. For Instagram feed, there is a time span of 1.7 second per post.
Mhm.
Can you imagine? In TikTok, it's even less.
Yeah.
So if your product isn't interesting, engaging, if you want to sell soap or sneakers, I think there is a lot of potential on
Mhm.
TikTok, even for realtors, for construction.
Yeah.
I think there's, I do TikTok myself. I post a bunch of videos and I'm guilty. We had this conversation with Leon before. He was laughing at me because I said, I'm not that desperate to dance on TikTok. We will see. So I'm trying to create educational content. I admit it doesn't perform as well also on Instagram or YouTube, but I think there is a lot of potential. You have to figure out the way how you connect with the audience. I think TikTok uh, is a little bit tougher because you have to condense all this information in such a short video.
Mhm.
This is the challenging part. And there is a lot of potential in terms of influencers. I think your educational platform would work on TikTok very well. But for some brands, it's just that's the challenge how you package the information and
Mhm.
your presentation in such a small, entertaining format. Because I get 20, 30,000 views on Instagram, post the same video on TikTok, it gets 200 views, 100 times less. And that's you bet you have to place which social media you choose
Mhm.
because unfortunately it doesn't work the way you cannot create unified content for any social media platform.
Yeah, that's true. I think the days where you could just create a post and then click all of the platforms, hey, send it out, the same thing. That doesn't really work. Um, would you say that maybe right now brands need to become even more sort of personal and more, down to earth, almost like, hey, I'm just your neighbor, I'm this kid from the street, rather than a brand? Because traditionally, especially with bigger brands, it's always been very polished ads, polished
Hmm.
websites, videos, everything is very clean. I keep on thinking about it with because of the rise of TikTok and people staying at home, working from home in the PGs, whatever it is. Will we see brands kind of almost having to confirm and start to look a lot more like, here's just my neighbor, rather than this fancy big brand?
Absolutely, I think it's a huge trend, and even for our personal marketing, for our SaaS, for our advertising agency, this is what I see. When you spend a lot of time on editing and you have high level production and you post this video, it doesn't give you any confidence that this video will go viral. You'll get a couple thousand views at
Hmm.
least. You shoot something on your front camera, 5-second video, and it gets 30,000 views. It's unpredictable. What I suggest to everyone, just test a lot of content and test all possible platforms because you never know. You
Yeah.
rely on those algorithms and of course, we know what Instagram claims. Yes, our algorithm takes into consideration these three factors, but how you how you fetch this content to those three factors. In the end of the day, it's how you find your audience on social media platforms. The only suggestion I can give is just test different type of
Mm-hmm.
videos. Because, for example, in our case, everyone was saying me, "Hey, Dennis, you have to shoot vertical videos," and I was shooting vertical videos. But then I had a couple horizontal YouTube format videos, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought I would cut it, I would make it vertical. I have two
Yeah.
white stripes. Everyone's saying, "Okay, you shouldn't do this. It doesn't work on Instagram." I post few videos, I get thousands of views. How does it work?
Interesting.
It's not Instagram format. It
Yeah.
was video meant for YouTube. And it didn't get any views on YouTube, but it got a lot of views on Instagram. We tried it on TikTok, zero performance. And it wasn't just one video.
Mm-hmm.
And we, okay, let's test this format. We created 6 similar videos, different concept, different story behind it. But the idea of 2 white stripes, we call out our audience at the top,
Yeah.
saying realtors. We get thousands of views. How does it work? We have conspiracy theory that Facebook or Instagram algorithm can read what we say in our because it always a combination. We're saying some Facebook realtors, and Facebook understand, hey, we have a lot of realtors on our platform, and we also have Facebook keywords, so they're trying to promote Facebook to realtors. Awesome, let's get them views.
I mean, it's a pretty good conspiracy theory.
But every video where we have Facebook and realtors combination
Yeah.
at the top, it goes viral.
Yeah. But it can also be that the people are, paying attention to it right away. So they don't just see your face. They don't have to listen. They read right away. It's like, okay, that's probably useful for me.
Exactly. That's that's the second guess. Probably that one more likely to be the truth. But this is how it works.
Yeah.
You would never ever think about it unless you try. The simplest format for me
Mm-hmm.
in terms of production, just shoot horizontal video. You can post it anywhere. White stripes, call out your audience. Hey, realtors, I have awesome content for you. This is literally what it says. It goes viral.
Well, simple, easy to understand.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your success stories in terms of return on ad spend. What was your best performing client and what did you do for them?
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. Turn on ad spend. For some reason, I right away remember a couple of campaigns that totally failed and there was no return on ad spend. It's usually easier to have those examples. Um. Let me think.
Tactical. I always ask this question because marketers, they always like to think content strategy, SEO. Have you ever experienced SEO worked for someone? You actually got sales, measurable sales.
Uh, Not really. SEO is one of those things that's like, oh, you have to invest in it. You gotta do it. It takes so much time, so much money. One day you're up, that same day in the evening, you're nowhere on the search page. You don't know what happens. You thought you were following everything. You forget to post something, you have a gap, you're nowhere at all, and then suddenly one blog post works. And it's always like you're always scared. You feel like you're doing the right thing, you know all the steps, but you don't know what the result is gonna be. Um, so SEO, yeah, I still do say that you kind of have to invest in it, but I almost talk not as a way to be up on the search page. I talk about it as if you know that your audience is going to be the type of audience that will go into your website and will want to read your posts and get educated, do it. But don't just leave it there. Take it to LinkedIn, take it to Instagram, I don't know, create a YouTube channel, repurpose that content. That's my biggest advice always. Um, and you just need to do the basic SEO to make sure that you're not being flagged as some random website that didn't follow anything. Um, Otherwise, with going back to paid media, um, I would say the things that worked were for direct to consumer brands. So there are a few examples, especially when I worked with a performance marketing agency. The ads that really work, but we really focused on that conversion rate optimization and all of the tactics. So I would say the ads is not just, it's not the only part when you do paid media. It was the ads, and really what was important is their journey as they land onto the purchasing journey,
Hmm.
right? So how your cart looks like, whether you're trying to upsell in the cart, what type of call to action you're having there, whether it's easy to fill in the information, whether it picks up your name or it's easy to search the address, right? All of that changes drastically what you want to the conversion rate, as well as the simple tactics for direct to consumer brands is like presenting three items, and like one that is a little like bigger in the middle, and it's the medium price, and you can see a reference it to $150 makeup product, and here's $70 and some discount, it's 3 in 1, and there is a $15 one, so everybody be like, 15, but there's 150, so 70 is really good offer, we'll really purchase it right now. um and with the ads, the ones that worked really well, and there was a lot of health and beauty products direct to consumer. I'm not going to bring up companies themselves, but they're emerging direct to consumer. I'll say one was a lash brand, actually, the fake eyelashes.
Hmm.
We just used a lot of video ads, a lot of video ads of um, influencers, micro influencers, a lot actually, not big influencers. They just talk to the camera without even fancy editing, saying, "Hey, look, oh my god, it works. I actually really liked it. I'm gonna do like buy more of this." This were the ads that performed the best for those like health and beauty direct to consumer brands. When we try to create a fancy video
Hmm.
production one, try to showcase the product from the different angles, it wouldn't perform. As soon as we put some, average looking girl, for example, putting those fake eyelashes on, it will be great. Everybody will look, comment, share, go in, purchase that middle kind of product that will feature. There'll be three different eyelashes together for the price that's in the middle, so they can have the reference price. And then they'll go into the cart, and the cart is a very simple checkout. Just a couple of steps. It's pre-fills everything. You kind of just type it, and it finds it for you. And we'll also throw in some upsell or cross sell there. Be like, hey, don't forget to buy the, I don't know. Do you want to try those fancy ones? Because there is some sort of celebration come on New Year's, there's green eyelashes, add them in the cart. And yeah, this is the type of campaigns that I've in the ones that I've been involved in that performed the best.
Do you feel there is a future in influencer marketing? Because I believe before, when you hire an influencer and when he or she posts something on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, people really think it's authentic
Yes.
intention to share something with the audience. But right now there are so many influencers that promote anything, especially in beauty industry,
Yeah.
travel. It doesn't seem as genuine as it was before. So people treat it almost as a simple ads.
Hmm.
It just this was before with display ads.
Yeah.
When display ads just appear, people read some content. Wow, such a nice banner. I will
Yeah.
click on it. But when there's too many banners, efficiency of your ads go down.
Yes.
Do you see that year over year, influencer marketing return on investment goes lower?
I would see. Yes, I saw it with really large influencers.
Hmm.
Originally you would just pay someone a lot of money, but you get so many sales out of it. Um, right now, when it's a big influencer, people kind of look at it, but not, people are not dumb. Right now, you're going to have to say that it's a paid promotion. People see it. Yes, you definitely get, exposure,
Hmm.
but it doesn't mean you get sales. Though interestingly enough, I definitely still see it with small influencers,
Hmm.
because for some reason people kind of still think that if it's a smaller person from my community almost that I follow, it's interesting because they relate to them more. They feel like they're the closer to them. They can talk to them sometimes. They'll respond to their comments, so they tend to trust them more. So those micro influences work. One thing that I saw, We also in that agency had On It, actually, which are the supplement brands that used to be promoted by Joe Rogan. So
Mhm.
that got acquired now. But putting Joe Rogan on the ads always worked because he's got his own brand that is amazing. And he was promoting On It and he was sitting in his podcast wearing On It t shirt. Like it worked. Um, and then,
The challenge is, how do you approach micro influencers at scale? Because it takes so much time to find micro
yes.
influencer, reach out to them, sign contract, wait for them to produce content, make sure this content align with your branding
Mhm.
guidelines. How does it work?
I've always had someone, if we needed content from influencers, will say, we need content from influencers. This is your target audience. Try to find somebody that is like them, get the contract going. All of them have rate cards, they know how it works. I'm actually not sure, but my assumption would be that there will be some platforms that can actually help you with that probably have an aggregation of influencers. If they don't, this is a good business idea. Um, but yeah, usually it's just looking through like social media or whatever channels, seeing who's out there.
We focus a lot on influencer marketing right now for our startup. And what I found, the best way for you is still to reach out and
Hmm.
find those influencers manually,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to micro influencers, because we try to use a few platforms. If you type influencer marketing on Google, you will see first
probably.
first ones that come up. We didn't find it useful. Of course, they show you influencers in your
Hmm.
niche, in your industries. You can search them by keywords, but you find a lot of influencers that micro influencers that for me seem have fake followers. You just check the
Yeah,
engagement rate, you look at the comment, it's super easy.
yeah.
They charge you 100, $200, $50, but
You're
it
not
just
gonna get anything
it's
out of
just
it.
useless. The most efficient way for us, you actually type something relevant to your product on YouTube. You find YouTube channels, you see what they actually post, how
Hmm.
people engage with them on that social media platforms, how they comment. Then next step would be get email address,
Yeah.
create list of email addresses, and then not even bulk emailing. Personally, every single influencer, then have a meeting with them, almost like an interview process. And what I found, it's such a time consuming and expensive process
Yeah.
to go through all those influencers, because sometimes it doesn't work for them, it doesn't work for
Hmm.
you. Sometimes you're not ready to pay the fee they want.
Yeah.
Then you have to filter the content they produce, sign a contract. It takes so much time. Before we were focused, my experience in paid ads and
Hmm.
data. And just recently, I got into influencer marketing just for my business. And I didn't realize, because my assumption was they're a magic platform. You just type, I need influencers for SaaS business in this niche market. And then boom, 20 influencers. You just submit a request. And then magically they create awesome videos for you that you can use in your ads.
You're a marketer too. I don't need to tell you that everybody, and how can you fall for that trick? We know as marketers that everybody looking from outside thinks that marketing is super easy. You go in, oh, you just post something, you just send an ad. Like it's so easy. It requires so much effort. You do everything manually. You can't, like, yeah, you have certain platforms that can help you to bulk produce it, but a lot of it is still thinking in your head and manually going out, talking to people, or writing the post or whatever it is. Like it never really works as an easy 1, 2, 3 click. I wish, but then we probably wouldn't need the millions of marketers that we have in the world. So
We always have these conversations. And that's why there is a lot of scammers online. They claim they have this magic solution for you, magic pill.
yeah.
They just create a landing page, throw everything they have, all the pain points
Hmm.
marketers, business owners have, and just, hey, only $50. And we had this conversation with Leon before. How do you call those people? He said, like, it's a con man.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I remembered what other thing works in when you talk about influencers. So I've haven't personally been doing those ads, but I have been involved in black hat marketing, which is you post one type of ad, but then you replace it, or you put fake ads, fake influencers. A lot of it, if you put something, hey, been featured on Shark Tank. Oh, one of those, like, oh, they have been picked up by a great investor. Works so well. It surprised me. Every single time I saw that, I was like, how does this work? Why do people just fall for it? And it's exact the same image. They reuse the same landing
Uh-huh.
page, the
Yeah.
same banners, and people still buy it. Like it's not a long-lived product. Usually they're, going back to the drop shipping time and kind of the idea of, hey, I bought a ton of products from AliExpress. Let me sell them. It works. People make money, get another product, continue.
You know, a few months ago, we found our competitor. He went, I think for me, it's too far. He used AI to produce a video like one of the
Hmm.
sharks giving a review to this platform
Really?
saying, yes, we found a website where you can order those famous people reviews for you. I don't I don't have any trust in anything. Can you imagine? Pe-
Wow.
And I'm not sure if it worked for them, but it as crazy. It's why back to question about how do you establish trust online.
Hmm.
I think it's just producing your own content and having people engage with you, having this long-term commitment, because otherwise these fake marketers, they will ruin anything.
Yeah, it almost feels like, you pretty much have to be like, here I am in my house, real life. See, I exist. Like, I have this product, I have this service. It's true.
And even when you ask your customers, can you shoot a review, and you see your competitors, they have so many fake reviews, and like, okay, how many real reviews I have to shoot so it looks legit? But anyways, I think the majority of people, they do trust reviews, and it's needed online.
Hmm.
And I think this niche, this industry of having some platforms where you can share reviews related to real estate, dedicated like to some uh, insurance company. And even we had this idea, back home we have like this huge banking website
Hmm.
where you can share experience of interacting with banking financial institutions. And there's nothing like that like solid in Canada. And I'm asking myself a question: is it just because people trust completely the banks, so they don't need to share any negative experience? And you see a lot of startups like that. Something works in
Hmm.
Europe and it doesn't work in the US.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it just a different perception of the market? And even IKEA, same example, how many years it took them to convince Americans that Swedish furniture that lasts you a few years will work for their house. Uh, you don't need to die with your sofa. uh, Very interesting. So, do you want to develop your SaaS in UK only, or you have plans to move
No,
it?
I have plans to move it here as well. There is again, it's just to test the original MVP. If that works, then definitely it's much easier to then expand to Canada and to US because of the language,
Hmm.
right? It's easier to do. And as well, like I have connections here. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I want to think about it too far out because if you have all those plans and it fails, I start feeling really, really bad. But I'm going in expecting, not expecting, but feeling very comfortable. If it fails, I've learned a lot. So if I start another business, which it actually exists, it's gonna be out of here. But I'm using all the learnings that I've kind of gained from that startup over that last year and to slowly invest into the other one. Um, she relates to pets. That's all I'm gonna say. Um,
It related to pets.
Pets. Yeah, I recently got a puppy, so I got a lot of ideas on where the system is broken. Yeah, so kind of seeing if I can use those learnings to try out the other one.
How much time do you invest? You have a full-time job, you have
Yeah, well, that's the,
multiple business.
that's why the second one is really just an idea stage. Idea where I have just almost a canvas where I throw in all the things that I see online, products that are sort of alternatives or competitive. It's just a bunch of information right now that doesn't require that much time. But working in a startup, as I said, there was a reason it took us a year. There's just two of us doing all manually. It takes a lot of time. Like during the week, it's really hard when you're working a full-time job. You kind of have to dedicate, Saturday or Sunday. You just sit there and get it done. We usually get on a call because my co-founder is based in London, so we get on a call like Sunday morning, and then we just spend hours trying to figure out what we're still missing.
What do you think the key to success in entrepreneurship?
Couple of things. Number one, which I just mentioned, is I think you really need to be comfortable with failing.
Mhm.
If you're going to try and grab onto your ideas and not willing to change or pivot, you're not going to succeed. Number two is related to it is you need to be super flexible. You think that when you create a startup, you think it's your baby.
Yeah.
You can't let it go. You can't let go your ideas, the certain words you want to use, certain words you don't, and you don't care. You'll almost like have the super dark glasses that change everything around you because you just see your own head. You don't see how the market is reacting to it. So I think it's super crucial to hear the feedback, see how the market is reacting, see what other people are telling you, and be ready to pivot and just let go of that idea. Um, and number three, I think you need to talk about your idea a lot.
Mhm.
This is a interesting question because some say, hey, keep your idea to yourself for the longest time because somebody might steal it. I don't think that's the case because if they're going to steal it, they will start from zero as well. And okay, race. But maybe actually there's another statistics, interesting one that most companies that succeed are not the first to market, they're actually second to market
Yeah.
because they already look at all the examples, at all the failures and pitfalls that happen for other companies, and then they just evolve and make it better. Um, so I don't think there is anything wrong about having other people having competition, but even that, when you talk about your startup, most of the time you just gain so much. Whether you talk to your mom, whether you talk to a random neighbor, whether you go and try to find some consultants, some mentors, you will receive such a breadth of information that will help you with your startup rather than trying and keep it to yourself and just developing it alone. I don't think you can capture all of the things that might happen to it if you don't talk about it.
How do you find balance between perseverance and reality? You understand that you fail. Not you failed. The idea was wrong. Because, for example, WhatsApp founder, I think, hadn't had any traction for 5 or 6 years.
Hmm.
How do you find this balance? At what point you should say, okay, I have to stop and I have to make a decision? It's not going to work.
I don't know if it would be the same process for everyone. Like if you've really had, sometimes you believe in your idea, but somebody else tells you, I don't think it's gonna work. Like, let's go back to what was it, Kodak, the film cameras, right? They're like, oh, digital camera's not gonna work. Bye. Like somebody clearly had a vision and they just couldn't change the market at this point and tell Kodak, like, yeah, we have to have digital. But there are other cases where, let's say, your product works, people like your product, but they're not willing to pay money for it. Like it's just not valuable for them.
Mhm.
Or you think you're gonna get money from somebody else and they say, it's cool product if you give me for free. At this point, you probably failed. Unless you can pivot and find the value for them where they are willing to pay. Right. So it really depends. If I would say generally, if you have a big vision and you have to change the market, educate the market, you probably have a shot, but you would wait a lot longer to try and say, hey, look at my product. It's really cool. You just don't know what it is. But there are other ways that people either create products that don't deliver a lot of value, or they create products that um, are almost, delivering value for the things that are not a big problem.
Hmm.
There are a ton of products that help you with like tiniest little things in the house. And sometimes it's like, oh, it's more of a hassle to me to use your cool, I don't know, special type of vacuum for that corner than just go with my finger.
Hmm.
So in this examples, you're gonna need to have a reality check and be like, am I actually delivering value? If I'm not, it's probably not the right product or service.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's all about balance. Having someone beside you who can give you a reality check, very important. You should rely on those people. They should believe in you, but still they have to be straightforward with you.
Hmm.
Sometimes it doesn't work with your friends, so you have to find someone from outside of your friend circle, so they don't care that they can hurt you.
Exactly. You
That's
need
the
to find somebody who will tell you the truth without caring at all.
that what I found is really dangerous about friends and friends giving you advice, because of course they want you to succeed. That's
Hmm.
natural. That's why sometimes those accelerator programs, incubators, they work, because those people, they don't care. It's just business for them.
Yep.
Even if it's not for investment purposes, if you're not getting any funding, have someone outside who have experience getting something from the ground, growing bunch of businesses is very valuable. Can you give me what inspires you to build business? Is it just money or something else?
No, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to everybody, money is important. But when you build business, is it really gives me opportunity to use a lot of my knowledge. Because yes, I've always been working in marketing, but that's not the only thing I'm interested in. The reason I went in marketing is because I know so many different things. I'm interested in so many different things. So building a business, it's like, hey, use your full skill set, find the other people that will complement it, and try and see if you can do it all on your own. I think that's really what makes me going. It's being like it's a thing where I can check and prove whether I'm able to succeed.
I think at this point I'll be waiting for your small icon on LinkedIn where it says open for hiring. But anyways, thank you for your time. It was awesome conversation. Lots of great thoughts in terms of marketing, startups, entrepreneurship.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Thank you a lot. No, it was a great conversation, and good luck with your startup.
Thank you.
So I really hope it's going to succeed and it's going to pick up.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you for your time. It was great conversation, and stay tuned for the next episodes.